Greetings one and all. I hope you're well. At DSMove94 asks the following. If you don't mind, how would you go about EQ? I'd love to know. It seems like you only use a high pass, which means only cut the bass. Well, you can imagine why. Anyway, well, some of you may know I'm not much of an EQ person. I've been using it of late. It has got some uses. Obviously, it's got uses, but why am I not much of an EQ person? I'll tell you why. And I'm thinking now it's probably not that relevant, though it kind of is. Come from a bit of a hi-fi background. I like the hi-fi, blah, blah, blah. And some of the high-end amplifiers, some of them costing $7,000, all no tone controls. Some of them, no balance controls. I say, what do you want a tone control for? What do you want a balance control for? This amplifier is like, and it's accurate, both channels, you don't need it. Thinking behind that was that the less the signal went through, the less deterioration there'd be. Fair enough. The idea was that you had your perfect record, vinyl, CD, whatever source that had been mastered by a master engineer, producer. Why do you want to go fiddling with the tone controls? Okay, that's the idea. And then it goes through this amplifier and you've got your big, heavy and expensive speakers. They influence the sound more, I think. And you've got a good room. So what do you need tone controls for? So that was that thinking. But of course it's not the same for live. Now bear in mind I don't do huge spaces. Say for instance, I have this, which you may know is a good mic. A lot of people like it, KMS 105. I find a bit too much mascara up the top there for my liking. And the low end is truncated and the proximity boost you get then is a little bit too high for my voice, so it makes me a little bit boxy, a bit muddy. But I did use it with a big band several times and the band leader came up and said, what is that mic? You're not loud, but I can hear everything. So really intelligible. So I thought, let me see if I can do something then and go through what I do, which is not very much, and see if I can answer the question. Checking everything's centered, of course. Leaving the SV33 and going on to the KMS 105. Now I'm on the KMS 105. Now I'm on the KMS 105. So immediately I hear a bit of that thing that's not so good for me. And I can hear that at the top there. I can hear that at the top there. Top there. Top there. So what would I do to try and make this a bit more to my taste? I'm very limited. I've got 3 controls, treble, 12K. I've got mid 2.5 and bass at 80. Up the top there, between the 2.5 and the 12, I could probably do something in between. That's probably exactly where I need it. Anyway, first thing I tend to do is boost. Not live, of course. You're going to get feedback. Well, you could, but be careful. Not here because I've got headphones, all right. And see what part of it. So I'm going to boost the 12. This is boosting the 12. This is boosting the 12. This is boosting the 12. So you can hear that 12 probably is a little bit too high for what's going on in that mic there. If I put it back to flat, the bit I'm not so keen on is kind of there, but when I boost it, you can hear above that. I'll put it back to flat. This is a 2.5 mid, which I suspect is going to be too low. This is a 2.5 mid, boosting the 2.5 mid, boosting the 2.5 mid, and you can probably hear, yes, it's just a little bit, seems to me, to my ears, under what I really want. Oh, well, but what am I going to do? It's a real-world situation. Well, I think that the 12 is a little bit more objectionable. So that's the one I'm going to cut a bit. Here's taking the 12 off. 12 is completely off. 12 is completely off. Bring it back a bit. 12 is a bit halfway on. 12 back to flat. Back to flat. Taking the 12 off just a little. How's that? That's a 12 off just a little. Going back to flat. That's a 12 flat. 12 flat. 12 flat. 12 flat. 12 flat. 12 off just a little, 12 off just a little. I think I'll go with that. Going to leave that there. What about the mid? Take a little bit of mid out. Take a little bit of mid out. No, it's sounding a bit soggy to me. I think it's too low. It is boosting the mid even though that 12 is there. So I think I'm going to leave the mid flat. Don't know, we'll see. Come to the bass now. Can I get a bit more? Can I get a bit more? Can I get a bit more? Oh, can I get a bit more? Oh, can I get a bit more of that? Authority, I'd call it. In the hi-fi terms, I call it authority. Yes, standing a bit shut in. Can I? See, it's not really, hasn't got the... So, here's the 80 hertz. Probably want lower than that, I'm not sure. Depends on what the... Here's the 80 hertz, boosting the 80 hertz just a little there. Taking the 80 hertz off, that's what it sounds like with the 80 hertz off. 80 hertz back at flat. Boosting the 80 hertz, boosting the 80 hertz just a bit there. So, what have I got? So, what have I got? What have I got? So, what have I got? This is not so spiky. Let me see if I can do a bit better. Taking a little bit of the mid off. What have I got? There we go. What do you think of that? Is it a bit muffled sounding? So, there we go. Is that... Yes, so in that case, I might... yeah, I'm reasonably happy with that. But it is quite tricky. I mean, I couldn't remember that. They're just tiny little increments. I fiddled about, as you could tell. Fiddled about in the slightest movement. So, live, it would be nice if I had swept, 2 swept mids, upper mid and lower mid swept. That would probably be easier, but could I remember that? So basically, let me go on the 33. So again, when you're trying to equalize these mics with shapes, and they all seem to have a shape, I don't know why. Well, I kind of do. Habitual old school thing, really, from Duff PAs, and pushing that through. And then you use those mics, as I said many times before, you use your SM57 on all the guitars and everything else. So everything's pushing that. Well, I can't get it. And then you try, so everything's there. So you're no further forward, really. It's just everything's now in that frequency band. And the difficulty is, when you've got a shaped mic like this with all this stuff going on, how on earth are you going to match that with the average EQ? All right, on a computer, you can see it maybe and target it, and you can alter the Q of the width of the EQ. So that's for me, I think, go with a flat mic. Then if you do need to do some EQ, hopefully the electronics are quite smooth in terms of their shape. And then you can, if you've got your flat mic, you need a bit of something, you can do that, or have that and move it there a bit or there a bit if it's sharp, if it's a tight peak. I don't know. Anyway, that's what I do. I hope that's of some use to DS Move 94. See you next time.